Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. I hope you're having a good day. We have a test coming up on multiplying and dividing integers, so I wanted to do a little review with you today. So one of the things you have to do in the test is prove certain situations are true, given a situation. So first thing we did was talk about ways we can prove why positive times positive is positive and negative times negative is positive and so on. So this first question here, -2 times -5 equals positive 10. First thing you want to do is tell me what it means. And since there's a minus sign on the -2, it means take away two groups of -5. And so what we automatically would do in that case then is we'd go, okay, well, I'm going to put groups of -5. That's not negative. Blacks are positive and whites are negative, right? So I'll put my groups of -5, doink, 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 doink. But then I'm not taking them away, I'm adding them, right? So to take them away, to have them appear without actually appearing, I have to put positives to go with them. So with every negative, I put a positive. And now I've added 0, right? And I have to do that twice because I want two groups of that. So now I've added 0, but now I have the ability to take away two groups of -5. So I'll take away all the negatives, and what I'm left with there are the positives, positive 10. So then a similar question, but by dividing. So this one, -10 divided by positive 2 equals -5. And in class we talked about there's a couple of ways we can think about division. Well, in this particular question, we'd want to think of this as break -10 into two equal groups. So start off with -10. So we'll make -10 and make two equal groups. So there's one equal group and there's another group. And then you ask yourself, how many are in each group? Well, there's -5 in each group. And that's how you prove that's true. All right. You could also use the related multiplication. Positive 2 times -5 is -10. And -5 times positive 2 is -10. Let's do two more of those. Positive 4 times -2 equals -8. Well, what does this mean? It means add 4 groups of -2. So let's do that. Let's add 4 groups of -2. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And there's your 4 groups of -2. That's -8. Okay, last question. -8 divided by -2 equals positive 4. Well, let me get the correct pen here. Okay, so I want to make -8. And I want to break -8 into groups of -2. So that's what that means. Break -8 into groups of -2. Okay, so let's do that. So here's -8. and break it into groups of -2. And then you ask yourself, how many groups are there? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 groups. So that's why -8 divided by -2 equals +4. So that's one of the things you have to be able to do in the test is prove certain kinds of questions are true. Now, the next thing you need to be able to do is just simply find the answers. So you have to be able to multiply groups of integers, pairs of integers, and groups of integers. So when multiplying groups of integers, remember to do pairs at a time, right? So on number 1, -2 times -4 would be +8. And -3 times -2, +6. And then that would be 48. And you can do any pairs that you want, right? In number 2, I might do all the negatives first. -1 times -1 is +1. -1 times -1 is +1. And then we still have that pesky -1 here. So we still have to multiply by that one. And then 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. All right. Don't forget mental math strategies like finding compatible pairs. In number 3, I might do the -25 times +4 first. That's -100. And then multiply that by -3 times -10, which is +30. And then I would do 30 times 1 is 30 and tack on 2 zeros. Negative times a positive is a negative. And don't forget about the strategy halving and doubling. And this question I might do -30 times +6. 6 times 3 is 18. Tack on a 0, -180. All right. Dividing. We also did dividing of integers, and we talked about how you can get creative and break numbers up to make them easily divisible. So -136 divide by 4. Could you break up -136 to make it easier to divide? I might do -120 divide by 4 plus -16 divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so that's 30, and it's negative. And 16 divided by 4 is 4, and that's negative. When you have two negatives and add them up, that equals the negative, so -34. And there's more than one way to do that. You could have done -100 divided by 4 and -36 divided by 4. Many different ways. Okay, so be on the lookout for breaking up numbers like that. -328 divided by -8. We could do that as -320 divided by -8 plus -8 divided by -8. Okay, negative divided by negative is positive, so 32 divided by 8 is 4, tack on a 0. And -8 divided by -8 is 1. So add those up, and the answer is 41. Okay, be on the lookout for these kinds of situations. Number 3, 639 divided by -9. Well, I might do 630 divided by -9 plus 9 divided by -9. 63 divided by 9 is 7. Tack on a 0, and it's negative. 9 divided by 9 is 1, negative. And a negative plus a negative, add up all your negatives, and you have -71. Okay, last question. -844 divided by -4. Well, I might do -800 divided by -4 and -4 divided by -4. Well, A negative divided by negative is positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Tack on 2 zeros. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. So that's going to be 201. Okay, in the second part of our video, I'll show some examples of some kinds of problems you'll have to do with integers for the test. Hope that helps. That's all for now. Flexing Teacher Weber out.